Third round of the Turkish League, and Gukesh is up against one of the very strong players of Turkey. Just to show you what the pairing is like of this event of the third round, this is how. So there are all these teams playing in the Turkish Super League, and if you look at the third row, you have the Turk Hava Yolari THY Sports Club. So it's the Turkish Airlines Sports Club, and you will see that Gukesh, Cheparinov. So Nadirbek Abdusataro took a break in this round. Cheparinov, Cemilcan, Bartolomej Heberla, Ekaterina Atalik, and Isik Chan. These are the players, and they faced DENİZ SU AQUAMATCH is their opponent, and this was the pairings for the event. And you can see that there are many strong teams. If you look it up on the right, on the first row, you have the team of Maksudlu, Yu Yangi. So I think Gukesh's team will face them. There's also the other teams where the top boards are, maybe Gukesh is perhaps one of the highest rated ones because he's already played Esipenko, who was a very strong one, but he might face a few more like Maksudlu in this event and so on. So let's go to the game and see how this went for Gukesh. I'm going to ask you a few questions during it, and you have to try and answer them. I have also, before we move forward, I have some pictures from the venue as well. So this is Sanal Vahap on the day of the tournament. I took this picture from the Turkish Super League website, and this is Gukesh, very focused and wearing his Waka outfit over there. Okay, now back to the game. Game opens with d4, with Gukesh having the white pieces. He's very comfortable sticking to his main openings. d5, c4, e6, knight c3, knight f6, knight f3, bishop b4, the Ragozin on the board, queen a4 check, knight c6, e3, castles, bishop d2, rook e8, and now comes the move a3, bishop f8. So we have 40 games that have been played here, and here the move that was played is h3, and this has been played in two games before, Kaimar versus Niemann, and then Nihal played it with Aronian at the Olympiad. And I think Gukesh liked this overall idea, sort of a waiting move here, and he tried this. In the game, Aronian had gone a6 here, but h6 was played by Sanal. I really like how Aronian actually dealt with it. So let's have a look at that game. Nihal Aronian, a6, rook d1, knight e7, queen c2, b6. So what Aronian has done is he put his knight here, he's put his pawn to b6, and he's putting his bishop here. And I think this is the right way in which black should face this opening, and the position is around equal here. But if we see what happens in the game, Sanal goes h6, rook d1, same plan, a6, and now Gukesh finds this very interesting move. I think Nihal's approach was more like, let's go back, queen c2, and I think that would have been maybe what Gukesh could have also done. But if you play queen c2, then maybe e5 needs to be calculated. But Gukesh's next move was bishop c1. Now e5 is difficult because the rook is opened up. So this very, if you think about it, you have not developed your bishop, your king is in the center, you haven't castled yet, and you are playing your bishop to d2, rook d1, putting your bishop back. So this is hyper modern opening chess. You know, it's not a very normal way to play. But it did confuse Sanal, and I think if he had seen Aronian game, he might have continued here knight e7, which I think is a nice way to play. And if queen c2, b6, and I think that would have been a nice way to play. But he played rook b8 here. By the way, there's also one more thing which I should tell you, that b6 is not such a silly move as you may think, because it doesn't drop a piece, by the way. Queen takes c6, bishop d7, queen b7, there is rook b8, queen takes a6, there is rook a8, and the queen is trapped. So you can repeat and agree to a draw. But b6, there is possibility of taking cd, ed, and now taking here. Because then after bishop d7, if this is played, queen b7, rook here, queen takes a6, the queen can run back. So cd5 is actually a move. That's why b6 does not work in that position. Rook b8. Now Gukesh went back with his queen, and Sanal tried to play the provocative bishop d6. So what he's saying is that I want to maybe take here and then go for the move e5 at the right moment when your rook wouldn't attack the queen. But now Gukesh said, then I'll push your bishop away, bishop f8, and play pawn to b4. Sanal now pushed with e5, de, knight e5, and Gukesh took, rook takes, and a good move here, bishop d3. White has now developed his pieces. He's going to castle next. d4 is not really a worry because after castling, if you take the knight, then bishop h7 drops the queen. So all in all, Gukesh is now pretty well placed. And next move by his opponent wasn't the best. He played b6. So here's your first question. What should Gukesh play here? White to play. Gukesh found this excellent move, and I think this is a very important one which his opponent might have underestimated, that is c6. Allowed this move. I think it's a tremendous move because after c6 I have actually sort of tied down your pieces in the position. And my idea next, I won't reveal it because I want to ask you the question, but the better way to play would have been queen e8, castles, bishop d7 and b6. The point is that now c6 is not possible because of the bishop and queen being there, and I think this way black had better chances to try and equalize, although white is doing pretty well here as well. b6, c6, he went and attacked rook to e6. He wants to take the c6 pawn. What should white do here? Important moment, but an easy one. Yes, knight to e2, excellent move. Your knight is going to d4 and defending this, so a very nice idea by Gukesh here. Queen e8, knight d4, rook d6, and now he castled. Knight e4 was played, and I think here there's a small improvement. Gukesh went bishop b2, but let's say if you go f3, here's a very nice variation which I wanted to show you. Knight g5. If you play knight g3, there's rook f e1, and white is doing well. So knight g5, I go bishop b2, very important move, because if you go rook f e1, there is knight e6, and now if you play knight f5, there is rook takes c6, and black is doing okay. But look at this variation, bishop b2. First of all, you're not afraid that he'll take this pawn because you will put your king on h1, and somehow the queen is exposed. Rook f e1 is coming, f4 f5 would come on in the position, so that doesn't look good. But what is the problem to knight e6 is the question. So now you play knight f5, rook takes c6, and white to play. What should white play here? Very nice moment. So here is the killer blow. Knight takes h6. Kudos to you if you found it, because look, if you take here, very pretty checkmate. So he must play king h8, and now again a very nice blow. Boom. If queen takes, you lose the rook, and if king g8, then comes bishop h7 check, king f7, and queen f5, king here, and bg6, and white has won. You know, this attack is too powerful. So this was a nice variation which I just wanted to show, which I analyzed. In the game, Gukesh went bishop b2. He didn't play f3. H5 was played. Well, I was thinking that whether this works in any way, but actually it doesn't. Let's say something like this, there is always f4 in the position. So that's the reason why this attack, this sacrifice doesn't work, and Gukesh was sure about it. H5, rook c1. Even now f3 should have been preferred, but he went rook c1, b5, f3, knight to g3, rook fe1, queen d8. Gukesh put his queen here, h4, and now what should white do here? So white has sort of improved his position well. His pieces are well positioned, and it's now time to go for it. And he now breaks in the center with e4. Excellent move. You will see that the knight is a little shaky, but it's well protected. And after takes, you take with the pawn. The idea is to push forward with your centrally positioned pieces. It is going to be a very dangerous attack. Rook h6 played by Sanal, and maybe Gukesh could have gone simply e5 here, but I think both players already were in time trouble now, and so the next phase of the game is not very accurate. Rook c d1, queen e8, queen f4 was played, queen e7, bishop c1. Nice sort of rerouting by Gukesh. e5 played, bishop e6, and now queen f3. Good move. g6, bishop c2. I love this move because his idea is to take on e6, queen e6, and play bishop b3. When this will open up and pawn will push forward. And I think it was very tough position for Sanal to actually hold here. And it's very difficult to know what to do. He played the move bishop c4, which might well be the best move in the position. As white, what do you do here, white to play? So there are two good moves. One is the simple move bishop f4, hitting the knight and asking him what are you going to do about it. And the other one, and also protecting e5. The other one which happened in the game, and I think the one which you guys would have found, e6. I love this move because now if you take here, then I have knight takes e6, fe6, and rook d7. There is g6 under pressure, too much of problems. And if f5, then there is knight takes f5, knight takes f5, and rook d7, queen f6, e7. So variations are working out. He played bishop g7, Gukesh took, queen takes. And now Gukesh should have gone for take, king takes. And this position is better after knight f3, you know, knight g5 coming in the air. But he thought queen g4 is better under time pressure. And here is the move for black that could have saved him. That is bishop d4. And you can take with the queen, but then there is knight e2 check, which makes it quite complicated. You lose the exchange. And if you take with the rook, I want you to find the best move here for black. It's a tough one, but try to apply yourself here. What would you do? So firstly, knight e2 is not possible because I'll just take bishop takes and queen takes. But here comes the very nice move, and kudos if you found it, rook e5. Amazing move. The threat is a back rank mate. If you take the rook, queen f1 and queen h1 mate. So that's the reason why he has to move the rook, but then check and knight d4. And the position is complicated. It's not clear who's better here. Maybe white is still having good compensation, but rook e5 would have changed the game there. But bd4 and rook e5. But Sanal went rook f8, and now the last point in the game, how did Gukesh make sure that he doesn't blunder here and win the game? I think this move was missed. So if you played bishop g6, that is not a good idea because of queen f2, king h2, and there is bishop d5 with a very powerful attack, and the d4 knight also is under pressure. So let's say rook g1, and maybe now there is a move like king h8. Very crazy move, because if bishop takes h5, you have some knight e4 business coming here. Not at all easy for humans to calculate, but bishop e5 check is coming up. And it's a very complicated one. But the main point here was not to allow this queen to enter into the position and to find the move knight f3. Gukesh found it, and everything is weak now. h4 is weak, g6 is weak, king is safe, and he's just winning. So game continued, knight e2, king h2, queen e7, bishop takes g6, bishop e5. This was the 40th move, and after Gukesh played king h1, the smoke had cleared, time had been added on the clock. It is completely losing. H5 rook is going. All sorts of pieces are hanging in the air, and so here, let's say even if you went knight g3, then king g1, and Gukesh is there's no more checks. Gukesh had won the game, and that actually helped his team win 4-2 in the match against their opponents. And also, this was the small screenshot of them playing against each other. And one last thing is, now it's the first time ever in the history of Indian chess that we have had 5 players in 2700 plus zone which are active. And in we have had 5 players before, but some had gone down below 2700 at that point. But now we have Anand, Gukesh, Harikrishna, Vidit, Arjun. Gukesh himself has risen up to 2735.9. That's 2736. He's world number 18 and he's doing really well. He has more games to play in this event, and who knows, he will keep rising up the ranks. And all the best to him. For now, it's a brilliant, brilliant period of Indian chess, and I'm very excited. This is Sagar Shah signing off. Bye bye.